Hey Tikkun Homestead crew, welcome to part 2 of the RV and camper pad installation series. It is currently Thanksgiving Day and we got some stuff in the oven ready to be cooked. And my parents came down again for Thanksgiving and also to help finish up with this big project. So they are outside and I'm inside getting the camera rolling. So we're gonna walk out and see what's going on here. First thing that happened was we got that propane tank moved and we're gonna tie them in together. So meanwhile, my dad's out digging and grading and my mom is out spotting. We got the laser level out there. We're gonna take that whole pad down about 6 inches and then we're going to backfill with the gravel, a big pile of gravel. Underneath, of course, we're gonna put some landscaping fabric and we're gonna get it all leveled out here. Last time we got the yard hydrants installed and the 1-inch poly pipe installed and buried, and we were surprised to see the water volume coming out of the yard hydrants because it's a lot stronger than the house, but that's an issue that we'll solve in another video. We also got one of the electric posts set in cement and the trenching for the direct bury wire, but today we'll be showing you guys a little bit more of the electrical installation. We'll also be showing you the drain and sewer hookup and a lot more digging and leveling, and I'm pretty sure you guys will be impressed with the transformation. We had to find the sewer pipe, but it was down pretty far, so instead of digging it all by hand, we decided to use the excavator to get close to it, and then dig the rest by hand. So we found the sewer pipe. I don't think it was working very well before, because that goes downhill. But we're gonna dig the trench out, and then 2 feet from the post, we're gonna put a Y in, and then 45 it out towards the other one, 2 feet from that post. Then we're gonna have to use 2 45s in order to jot it back over to in line. And then we're gonna 90 it and come up. And then over here, we're gonna 90 it and come up. And for now, we're just going to stick a piece of pipe up and cap it. So a couple of key points real quick when you're hooking up drain pipe is, number one, you want to make sure that your pipe is deburred so you don't have any plastic burrs that reach up and grab solids and start to cause a clog in the future. Number two, you want to make sure that you use the primer and the glue on both the male and the female sides. The primer is important because it kind of softens the plastic and allows the glue to weld the two plastics together. And then another good practice for you to think about if you're doing this kind of thing is make sure that the letters on the pipes read downstream, so they read in the direction of the flow. That's just good practice, that way if you end up digging it up in the future for any reason, or someone else does, and they can tell which direction the sewer or the septic is, as well as the drain field. So those are a couple key points when you're doing drain hookups. Alright, we're on the road again, heading to the hardware store because I learned something today. 4-inch sewer pipe is different than 4-inch drain waste and vent. I knew it was different, but I didn't know the size was different. So I ended up with a 4-inch drain waste and vent Y, which is too big, and 4-inch DWV Fernco coupling as well. So I'm off to the hardware store to hunt for the proper pieces so we can do this as right as possible. So after you get everything hooked up, you want to make sure that everything is on grade. So we go with a 1/4 inch per foot of fall downhill to make sure that everything flows downhill, the solids and the liquids together. And then we backfill it to stabilize that pipe. And then after we make sure everything is buried underneath, we go ahead and backfill over the top of the trench. While backfilling and grading, we came on a little bit of a problem. I'm stuck in the dozer. So the skid steer's hydraulics had a little bit of an issue, and when I raised the bucket up in order to backblade, that ended up throwing off the float sensor and it said that there was no hydraulic fluid. The issue is you can't open the door unless the bucket's all the way down and the hydraulic fluid was down, so it tripped the sensor, so it wouldn't let me bring the bucket down, so I got trapped inside there for quite a bit. But eventually I got out and we ended up having a mechanic come over and fix the issue, and we carried on with the project.
Okay, here we are today installing underground cable for the RVs. We have this is a 6'3" direct bury with a ground. So there's 2 hots and 1 neutral and a ground. Kind of hard to see. We'll strip it later and I can show you that later. So this is the direct bury wire. This is a 50 amp for the 50 amp RV hookups. We also are running, this is 240 volts. We're also running 120 volt for just regular outlet plug-in, so that when we have in wintertime, we can put a heat trace type tape on there to keep our faucet from freezing. The direct bury is just like it explains, we can directly bury it. Now if we come over here, we were able to fish all 4 of them, which was a pretty tough job, up into the panel box, and that way we have a nice clean exterior look. Later on we'll put all these onto the breakers and onto the neutral, and I can go through that later. But right now we're just gonna backfill it and it'll look pretty. On that end there, we'll put a post with our plugs. That's it.
Setting the post is pretty easy. We want to put it in cement in order to give it a good solid base. And an easy cheat code here is to pour the concrete down on the bottom and then add water over the top, and it'll end up setting under the ground once it's backfilled. So it's pretty simple to do, you just want to make sure it's level. Next up is a landscaping fabric, and the purpose of that is to really hold everything together from the very bottom layer. It kind of offers as a foundation to hold all the gravel together.
So we finished the underground electrical now. We found an old ground rod that's pretty long, it's still in there solid. So we've attached new clamp, new 8-gauge ground wire, and we're going to bury it so we'll have lots of grounding. Then we'll be able to run it under the ground and up to the post and make it all neat and tidy. I forgot staples, but we'll staple it to the bottom up through here, then we will ground the panel when we get it to that time. Right now we're just trying to get all the underground done.
So now there's a ton of backfilling to do, and to tell you the truth, there's quite a bit more backfilling than we had originally thought there would be, so this project lasted a little bit longer than we thought it would. But all in all, at the end of the day, it turned out pretty good, and we'll show you here pretty soon what it looks like at the end. But right about here, we came into a little bit of a problem yet again. And the sewer pipe that had the riser that came up, we ended up running that over with the skid steer on accident. But it's not that big of a deal, it's a pretty easy fix, so we just need to get to it at this point. So while me and my dad were leveling and grading out the pads in the front, my mom decided to make a little planter bed out in the front of the house in order to make it a lot nicer underneath the porches that we just made a couple of weeks ago. So we kept pretty busy throughout the entire day. A lot of leveling and digging and grading and laying some pipe and electrical, and I have a ton of footage of that, but I'm just going to skip through a whole bunch of it because this video is going to be pretty long if I show you guys everything. So I'll skip a little bit forward and I'll start to show you guys what it looks like after the transformation. So it's been taking just a little bit longer than we originally thought it would, but that's okay because all we really have left to do is install the plugs, the outdoor plugs on the posts, and then maybe touch up the leveling on the pads, as well as plant some landscaping plants and put the bed in. Other than that, we're just about finished, so part 3 should be pretty short. So stay tuned, and thank you guys for joining, and like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon.